now in studio NYPD Chief of Patrol John Chell and Deputy Commissioner of Operations Daughtry. Chief Chell, let me start with you. You dealt with a lot of murder cases in your time in Brooklyn. You've been with the NYPD over 25 years. Give me your take on how this all unfolded and his apprehension in Pennsylvania. Extraordinary story.
Well, every murder is treated the same way, but they're all different. When you look back at this case from last Wednesday and what our detective bureau accomplished in 5 days, it's remarkable. And what you have to realize is the process, right? We have video canvassing, we have ballistics, we have forensics, we have a cab, we have a hotel. These are monumental pieces of evidence that had to be worked through subpoenas and search warrants. But at the end of the day, good old-fashioned police work by Chief Kennedy and his crew to get a picture, put it out to the public. The public saw something and said something, got involved. And this murderer, although it looks like he's smart on paper, valedictorian, he wasn't smart enough for the NYPD. He wasn't smart enough for the media. And he wasn't smart enough for that McDonald's employee who picked him out. And now he'll have his day in jail, his day in court, and be put together forever.
Yeah. Daughtry, Deputy Commissioner, you know, there are thousands and thousands of these images, right, that come from all of these cameras, and the NYPD was able to call them down, and then the commissioner pushed them out to the public, and that sounds like the reason that this McDonald's worker had seen these photos, right?
Yep, I remember when Chief Chell and myself and the commissioner was in our morning briefing, and she was very adamant about, like, we have to get these photos out there to the general public because we know we have the department looking for them, and as well as our other law enforcement partners, federal, state, and local. But she was very adamant that we have to get the general public's help. And this was one of the ways that the general public can help us by releasing these photos. And that was a good call on her behalf.
I mean, when you think about this worker at McDonald's, if the worker had hesitated just a few more minutes to call this in, this would be a very different story today, Chief.
Absolutely. And the officer that arrived promptly did his due diligence as a 6-month officer in that police department. And back to the video, that's a laborious task. These are old-fashioned boots on the ground, tracking video all over the city to come up with that great shot. And then we look at the shot in the cab, the eyebrows stuck out. Old-fashioned detective work, like you said, getting out to the public, see something, say something, and we have our guy. And the nation could rest that we have him now work through his process.
And you wonder how much he was watching of what was going on. Put the hash brown picture up again, if we can, control room, because I thought it was very interesting. He's got a different hat on that we haven't seen before, the one where he's eating the hash browns. There we go. If we can go tighter on that hat covers his eyebrows. And I give this worker a lot of credit because what was so distinctive on his face are those very large eyebrows and his nose, but he's got it pulled down over the eyebrows.
And a very defined chin. So as smart as he was, the arrogance to have that gun still, the arrogance to have the fake IDs. You want to play a game, put Monopoly in the bag, so be it. But you're not smarter than our detectives.
You know, we're going to talk to another specialist coming up later who has some questions about whether or not the gun that was in the backpack is the gun that was used in the crime. Do you have any thoughts on that, Deputy Commissioner?
Well, I mean, listen, this is a Herculean task. There's a mountain of evidence that the NYPD Detective Squad has to go through. Just because we have the guy in custody, that doesn't mean the case is over. We're just getting started. They got to build the case, present to the DA's office, and then obviously he's entitled to his due process.
How long do you think it's going to take for him to get back to New York? We know that he's fighting that through his attorneys.
It's up to the judge, but it's just a matter of time for he's coming back. He can delay the process to all he wants, but he's going to come back and go into a court system in New York City and pay the price for this. And that is the process, and he will be back here because we represent the detectives at NYPD, represent the Thompson family. They get righteous probable cause and put him behind bars the rest of his life.
And lastly, you know, when I was down there in Altoona, when the detectives walked into the interview room to try to speak with him, he was shocked to see the NYPD was down in Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Tell me about that. Well, tell me about that moment.
I wasn't part of the moment, but I did hear that he was a little, like, he could not believe that NYPD detectives were sitting in that room. And that just goes to show you that you commit a crime in this city, Commissioner Tish's police department is going to go anywhere to bring you back, to grab you, bring you back to answer for the crimes here in New York City.
And I know the officer who spoke to him in the McDonald's said to him, Chief Chell, you know, have you spent any time in New York lately? And he started to shake.
Right. And all telltale sign, the officer did a great job of doing, like I said, his job, bringing that person back to the precinct, recovering the firearm, and the rest will be history.
Extraordinary work, gentlemen.
Collective
And to
teamwork was fantastic.
all of the detectives who worked directly on this case and who hightailed it out to Altoona, as you say, to make their presence known. It's an extraordinary effort, and we're all grateful for the New York Police Department and the work that you all do to keep us safe. I know it's not an easy job, and we really are grateful for you. I just want to take 2 seconds and get your reaction to, because we have a story of two young men about the same age happening right now. Daniel Penny is free. Your reaction to that from each of you, if I may.
Well, the process played out. A jury of his peers said he did nothing wrong. In his mind, he was protecting passengers. He went in front of a jury, and they said, yes, we agree with him. So that's the way that's the way the system is built. That's the way the system played out, and here we are.
Deputy Commissioner?
He was judged by a jury of his peers. He was entitled to the due process. This is the system working. Yeah. They found him not guilty. Listen, I'm sure, John, I can speak on behalf of the members of the department, that we are very saddened that there was a life that was lost.
Of course.
However, the system worked. The system played out, and this is what the system delivered.
And in his mind, he was protecting those very scared passengers on that train who, by their own admission, was saying, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah. We don't want passengers to do that. We want passengers, when they see something that's happening in our subway system or anywhere out of the city, we want them to call 911. So.
Gentlemen, Deputy Commissioner Daughtry, Commissioner Chell, Chief of Patrol Chell, excuse me, thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.